Hello and happy crafternoon, friends. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. Today we're going to have a lot of fun because I'm going to show you a fun technique using your blending brushes with your stamps for some ink blending. You know, there's fun techniques to create multicolored stamped images. However, sometimes you can see those pesky lines in between the colors, or you get a little bit of an ink pad texture in there, and it's just not always as easy as it looks. So today I'm going to show you a fun way to create more of a stenciled look from your stamps and even an airbrushed kind of finish with ink, blending brushes, and silhouette stamps. But before we get started, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
It's not as easy as it looks. That's that's the title of my next video.
How are you?
I'm great. Hi, everybody. Better than horrible. Happy crafternoon.
That's funny. That's the title of my next video. It's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah, that happens a lot if you're on the other side of that craft table.
Well, it happens a lot to me too, and that's why I was playing with this technique last night because I wanted to do a multicolored silhouette stamp, and I couldn't get it to look smooth. So I decided to pull out my blending brushes and see if I could make it work better, and it looked so much better, so I thought, okay, I'm going to show everybody how to do it this way. So we'll see if it works. You know, it worked last night. Who knows? I may have had a fruit salad and thought it looked better than it did. So we'll see how it goes.
Possible.
And will you be back later with a word of the day?
I will.
Excellent. All right. Well, let's get started right away. So the stamp set that I want to use today is from our brand new Pocket Full of Sunshine kit. And it's this one right here. It's the All Occasion Flowers. So to do this technique, you do want to use a silhouette stamp. And I know we've got lots of silhouette stamps in our collection, so I'm sure you can dig one out that you can use. But if you have this kit coming, I think you're going to enjoy the way this particular image works for this technique. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get a piece of cardstock. I just cut a quarter sheet of cardstock here. It's 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. And I think it will work great for this because once we get this all ink blended, then we can cut it out using the Master Layouts die sets. We can pick one. I think I'm going to use Master Layouts 2 for this. So this will be a fairly simple card, but it's going to be a more of a technique video today than actually a card making video. You can see I've got a lot of different colors on this stamp so far because I have been playing with this technique and other techniques with this set. All right, so we've got the stamp on the MISTI. You definitely want to use a MISTI stamping tool or some sort of stamping platform for this technique because you are going to stamp it several times to get your look. Now for colors, where are my glasses? Okay, here they are. For colors, I was thinking we could go with a color combination that I haven't used in a while, which is Applemint. I haven't used a lot of Applemint, and I love that color. And then for the flowers, well, for some of the other colors, we could use some Turquoise Sea, maybe some Tranquil Teal, and even a little bit of Wild Dandelion. You want to use colors that are going to work well together no matter where you put them. So for example, I wouldn't mix purple into this mix because purple isn't going to look good with green. But I can lighten up the green with the yellow. I can put the yellow over the turquoise and make a version of green. The green can go over the Tranquil Teal. You see what I mean? All of these colors will work really well together. If you're looking for a brighter, different kind of color combination, something like sweet mango, red hot, and maybe, let me look here. Here we go. Passionate pink. That would be a great color combination for this technique too, because you could start with your sweet mango, and if you got pink on there, it would just make a different version, like a more orangey pink, like a dusty rose, right? But then if you mixed pink and red, it would just make a red or pink, and you see what I mean? You could even add yellow into this mix. because yellow and pink would make a version of an orange, like a peachy orange. So these colors would work really well too. I just wanted to point that out in case you didn't really want to do the blues and the greens. And yes, we do have re-inkers for every one of our ink colors, including our neon inks as well. So if you're looking for re-inkers to re-ink your cubes, your pads, we have a re-inker for every color, our embossing and watermark ink, our pigment inks as well. All right, so let's get started here. We've got the ink, we've got the stamp where we need it, and I'm going to start with my lightest color, which is Applemint. So I'm going to ink this stamp up directly with the Applemint, get it nice and inky, and I'm going to stamp it a couple of times to get the color nice and solid. But you do want to make sure that that piece of cardstock is tucked right into that corner. Okay, I am going to use my Chucky tool, but if you don't have that, you can just use a rag or your sleeve. Now you can see that's kind of spotty. That's all right. We're going to ink it up a couple more times and get it nice and smooth. I think the blues and greens will be fun too. Okay, we'll do another layer of this. Isn't that Applemint just a gorgeous color? And we've been out of the Applemint cardstock for a long time, but our new mill is remilling it for us. So we are going to have it back again because our old mill can't make it anymore. All right, one more time. I really want to get it like super smooth, and this is a newer stamp. Okay, there we go. All right, so we've got that beautiful, bright, vibrant Applemint on here. Love this color. Always checking to make sure that that piece of cardstock is in the right spot. Now, before I do this, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to let this dry for a second. I'm going to do another one. And I want to show you what I mean and what I was trying to do last night and why it wasn't looking good, okay? So let's get this on here. All right. We'll do a couple more of these. It's always good to have two going, just in case something bad happens to one. You've got another one that you can rely on. Like if your cardstock shifts. My cardstock was shifting all over the place last night while I was working on my card. And yeah, I'm not going to blame the fruit salad, but it may have had something to do with it. Okay, so we've got 3 layers there. Now, I like this one. So let's put this one back in. Now, I want to show you what I was trying to do last night. Let me get an ink cube here. So I'm going to find a Turquoise Sea ink cube. Here's one. All right. So what I was trying to do, let me zoom in so you can see this nice and close. I was trying to add some color around the flowers. It was very difficult. I couldn't get around the flowers. And what I was doing was I was taking the ink cube and I was kind of doing that rock and roll thing, you know, where you kind of go around the edges, right? Okay. And then I was stamping it. But you see this? You see these lines in here? You see how it's kind of like textured? Can they see that, Tom? It's got the little textured dots in it from the ink pad, right? Got a little over here, and it's just not looking as smooth as I wanted it to. I'm really doing this close up so I can show you what I'm talking about. So I wanted to add some more in here, more color. And you see, I got all of those like lines from the corners of the ink cubes, these little squared off things. So I was trying to do rock and roll, but it looks like the linen pattern from the ink cube. It just wasn't giving me the vibe that I wanted. It's pretty, but it's not exactly what I was going for. I really wanted more color like in the center, and I didn't know how to get it just in the center. When I tried to do that, you know, it gave me lines in weird spots. So we're not going to do that. So I'm going to zoom back out again, and then I'll zoom in to show you, but I wanted you to be able to see that up close. That's what we don't want to do. So let me get my tidy towel and just clean the stamp back off again. Okay. So now what I decided to ultimately do was I decided to add some ink in different spots using my blending brush. So I actually enjoy working with my bigger pads here, so that's what I'm going to do. But I want to show you now. So I'm using these smaller brushes, and I really like using the smaller brushes for this because it allows you to do smaller areas. The bigger blending brushes are a little bit harder to use. And actually, the new detail brushes are a little harder to use. This seems to be the perfect size. So I am just inking up this brush a little bit. And then I am just inking on here. See, I'm just pouncing a little bit of ink on here. Now, this is one way to do it. We'll just pounce a little bit of ink on here, and let's add that right in there. Now, can you see I've already got some darker, and this might be a little bit bright, so it might be a little harder to see. If you want to use the ink cubes, you can go in and add some ink, but then you've got to go in with your blending brush and you've got to smooth all of that out by pouncing on it. Get rid of those lines, pounce on it. See how I'm pouncing on it? And now you're going to add that color and you're going to get a much more shaded look. Do you see how it's getting deeper and darker in those areas? So now I'm going to go back with my blending brush and I'm going to add some color in the middle here of this flower. And I'm going to stamp that. See, now it's getting a little darker in the middle. Going to kind of go around the outside a little bit. Can you see how now it's starting to get more two-toned? So I'm actually going to do some of this with the ink cube. So I'm going to add some around there and a little around there. And then I'm going to take that blending brush and I'm going to blend that in. Using the blending brush to just pounce that color out. And then stamp on there. Can you see what's happening? Oh, I missed those, but that's all right. We'll do some more with that. We'll find those spots.
So question, Leslie wants to know, what's the difference in texture for the detail and the small brushes?
Well, the detail brush, it's such a smaller brush head that this seems to just flatten it out a little bit more. It seems to just soften it a little bit more. The detail brushes, I love the detail brushes because you can get into tiny little areas on stencils, but I prefer this for softening color because it's just got a bigger brush head. Let me show you the detail ones that I'm talking about. See these? This is a domed brush, so you get a softer kind of action when you pounce on it. This is a flat brush, so this is really good for getting into the small areas of a stencil. And I tried it with both and I really got a better result with this. So now I'm going to go up here along the edge up here like this, and then I'm going to just pounce out any of that extra color and then bring that in. So you can see it's starting to deepen up. Now, let me do a little bit of these leaves down here at the bottom, and then we're going to add some Tranquil Teal, and then I think we'll add a little bit of yellow in there too. So you can see, it might be easier for me to show you this part with this under here. So you can see that And that helps me see it. So maybe put a little piece of white cardstock underneath your Misty so that you can see that you don't have any harsh edges. And just blend out any of the harsh edges. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to add a little bit of yellow into this, although it'd be nice to have a little color right on the end of this leaf here. So that's over here. We'll just blend that in. Okay, so now I've got a little color there. So now I want to add a little bit of yellow. So I am going to clean this stamp off because I do want to get rid of all of that blue. And now I want to pounce a little yellow in here. Then I might go back and add some of that Tranquil Teal. So I've got this wild dandelion, and I'm going to ink up my brush with wild dandelion. And I'm going to bring some color into the centers of these flowers. And I'm just like pulling the color out and fading it to nothingness. Let's see how this looks. So can you see now that got a little bit more glowy in there? I'm going to do more. Let's add that to this one and see how that looks. It's got to be in the right spot though. See how it's getting more glowy? No, this stamp set doesn't have a die. This stamp does not have a die because this one is just meant to stamp directly onto the paper. All right, now I'm going to add a little bit of Tranquil Teal in here around the outside of some of these petals on these flowers. So this is my darker color. I'm going to add a little bit of that in there. All right, let's see how that looks. Ooh, I like that. I hope this is coming through. Sometimes our screen is too bright and it's hard to see all of the different variations of shading. But remember, I always put my my high quality photos both on YouTube and on Facebook. I also put them on Instagram too. So we're just kind of blending that ink right onto that stamp. So can you see how that, like, it's getting darker around the outside? So it's super fun to just play with this and just add little bits of color in different spots on your flowers. And then remember, pounce the color out once you apply it on there so that it kind of fades to nothingness. See how that's getting darker? Now let's get some yellow right up in here on those flowers. So I can go from yellow to Tranquil Teal. I don't feel like that's going to be a problem. But I don't want to get my yellow brush all over that Tranquil Teal, so I'm going to clean that first. And then I'm going to go back to my yellow.
Okay, question from a few viewers on why you're using the mini ink cube sometimes, but now you're using the big stamp pad with the brush.
I was just showing how you can apply it directly onto the stamp with the mini ink cube, but if you're applying it directly onto the stamp with the brush, I tend to like the big pads because it's just easier. I can stick them in my stand and it's just easier for me to ink them up that way. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, here we go. We're adding some yellow. So now that's getting more vibrant up there at the top. Oh, I almost put my blue brush in there. And doing little bits at a time is great because, you know, you're not worrying too much about like, oh, there's going to be a big line there because you're kind of layering that color on. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say there wasn't a die? I'm sorry. There certainly is a die for that. No, the photo is correct. There is a big die for that. Let me dig that out. Thank you, guys. I'm thinking of something else, something different for another kit that I'm doing for another event, and the biggest stamp doesn't have a die. But yes, this does have a die to cut this one out, and I just don't know where my die set is right now. Let me look for a second and find it. I threw it back in my bag. Give me a quick sec. Here it is. Yes, here's the big die. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh. There we go. That will cut that whole thing out. And it gets real tight too. It cuts out that center piece too. So yeah, sorry. Thank you guys for keeping track of me. There is a class that I'm teaching that has one big die, and then it's got a lot of little dies that were meant for something else, and we didn't do a big die because of the cost of the kit, and that big stamp is only meant for silhouette stamping. It doesn't make sense. You know how like Melanie's birds, you wouldn't want to cut that out, so that doesn't have a die set. Well, this is a set similar to that style. Okay, so now let's try this now that you've seen this. Yeah, sorry about that. Now that you've seen this, let's try it with some brighter colors and see what you think. Let me get another piece, a quarter piece of cardstock. I want to do it with those oranges and pinks that we talked about, and I want to see it with that. Yes, it would be great. This technique would be great for a postcard. I agree. I agree. You could use it for a postcard just the way it is. You might have to trim it a little to be like postcard size, but that would be really pretty as a postcard. And you know, the other thing that's pretty about stuff like this is, I don't know if you ever watch my friend Christina Warner, and she does her mail art, but she decorates her envelopes to match her cards. And sometimes she just decorates her envelopes, you know, not to necessarily match, but to just make a beautiful envelope. You could definitely do a technique like this on the outside of a white envelope. Wouldn't that be gorgeous? Love, love, love. So, nope, no news on the Chucky tool yet. All right, so now we're going to start with the Sweet Mango ink, because I want to use my lighter color here. Let's go ahead and ink this up with Sweet Mango. It is a little nerve-wracking about making sure that the cardstock doesn't move. You really do have to check every time. You know, make sure it's up in that corner. Okay. Ugh, I love this one too. You know what's really neat? I'm so used to stamping silhouette stamps in black. And I don't necessarily use a lot of silhouette stamping in color, and there are so many fun silhouette stamp techniques. I have to revisit my own YouTube channel because I used to do them all, and I'm sure that they're all on my channel. Look at that, somewhere. So it is fun to just get your stamps out and start putting color on them. Not every silhouette stamp has to be in black. We'll do one more layer here. Okay, all right, let's start with some reds. So I'm going to use Red Hot first, and we'll see what that looks like. Let me find a red blending brush. I have one right here. I have my own little carousel of this size brush too, because I use these a lot in my card making. I love this size. Now, I'm not worried that there's a little orange on here. It's not going to matter all that much. And let's ink that up.
Couple questions on
woodpecker.
Couple questions on how much pressure you use when you apply when you use the blender, and I guess how it's different when you're doing it on a stamp versus paper.
You know, I'm putting a little bit of pressure on there. I definitely want to transfer the ink, that's for sure. So, you know, I've got, although I don't even have my finger really on it, I guess I'm not going super heavy. It transfers so easily onto the stamp compared to the paper. So I think you just have to feel it. You have to try it to see what I'm talking about, because it definitely transfers right away. You can see how easily that went on. So I think the best thing to do is just to try it. I like to try techniques without any desire to make anything. You know, that's what I was doing last night. I was just trying to color this stamp in different ways with ink. And that's how this kind of came about. That's the way I like to roll. Not everything has to be a card. So I think just play. Just make a date with yourself to just play and see how it goes. So you can see this is starting to get more vibrant, and I'm loving it. Okay. So we'll add a little bit more here. And like if this color isn't vibrant enough, you could say, all right, well, I want more red in there. I want a deeper red. Let's try some red velvet and see if that brings the color out more. So we'll add some of that, but let's finish up and get some more red hot on here. Oh, I know. Well, you know, most of the sticky mats, Vicky, fit in here. And I think My Sweet Petunia does make a sticky mat that fits with her Misty. I'm not 100% sure, but I think she does. But yeah, I know what you mean. It would be so nice if the mouse pad was sticky. Maybe I should come up with a sticky mouse pad. What do you think? That'd be fun. Okay, so I'm just kind of going around the edge here. But if I did this with an ink cube, you'd get all those weird lines, and I don't want those weird lines in here. What is that? Get that out of there. There we go. I love the way this one is coming out. Are you liking this? It'd be so, yeah, a sticky mouse pad. I'll look into that and see what I can do with that. That would be nice. Okay. Now let's go a little darker red and then maybe add some pink. So we'll try this red velvet that I just got all over me. Let me clean that off. And I want to welcome everyone who's just joining us. We see people coming in from Facebook and Twitch. Welcome everybody. It is great to see you. We hope that you're enjoying your lunch hour with us. Or I know some of my friends from overseas are getting ready for bed. So I'm sure glad to see you all. Okay, so we're going in now with the red velvet. And let's see. We got to get some. You want to move me out of the way there, Tom? All right, let's go with the red velvet. We could even go as deep as like faded brick if we really wanted to accent that edge.
So, Sherry,
look at that, how deep that is. Yes.
Sherry's asking, what about putting several colors on the stamp at the same time? Like,
you can. You definitely can. Yeah.
They wouldn't smear?
No, I don't think so. I'm focusing on one at a time because like I really want to see how deep I need to get it before I move to the next color and where I want that color to go. I love the precision that I'm getting with just, you know, taking my time. But you could definitely do a bunch of colors at once if you want. Just, you have to move quickly enough that the color doesn't start to bead. You know, you want to get it on there as quickly as you can. So if it does start to bead up, it could change that smooth look that you're getting. So that's one reason why you might not want to wait. Let's do some yellow in here, and let's let's get these other parts of the flower more yellow. So this is going to look like a hot mess. And when I'm all done, can you see how the color, because I'm pouncing on it with a blending brush, it's getting caught down into the cracks and it doesn't seem as easy to clean. I just take it to the sink with an old toothbrush and just scrub it with a little Dawn dish detergent, and that gets anything out of the cracks that might be in the cracks. And I want to make sure that it's definitely dry. Okay. So let's add a little bit of yellow in here. Now remember, this is backwards, so I tend to go to the wrong spot. And so I want to see, I have to go in here this time with the yellow into this area, right in here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add some yellow into that area. It's kind of easier to see when you put that white paper on there, but let's add some yellow in there. But this takes all that texture and all the gloppiness away, and it allows you to focus exactly where you want. Let's see how this looks. Oh yeah, I see it getting more yellow. Can you guys see that? Shh, Nancy! Tom is watching. Sorry, Tom. One time, I think you were late for a live. I may have said that. All right, so this is getting nice and golden on those edges. Okay. A little bit more. I really like this color combination, and I love how vibrant that's getting. It's starting to glow here. Let's do the centers of these flowers as well. Oh yeah. Now should we try to add a pink in there? I know, he might get me back. That's kind of scary. Although I do bring my toothbrush to work with me every day. It's in my purse. Let's add a little pink and see what that looks like. I don't know what it's going to look like, but we'll add a little bit and we'll see what it does. I bring my toothbrush to work just because I don't like the way it feels after I eat. And maybe now that he knows, now that Nancy ratted me out. All right, I'm not seeing too much pink on this, and that's probably because we've got so much yellow in here that everywhere that it's going to touch, it's just going to turn more orange. But I really like that color combination. And can you see how, like, it's just blended? There's no rough edges at all. So that's really fun. And then here's the other one. So shall we try one more color combination and then we'll make a card with this? I think we should do that. I think we got to try something with purples and pinks because everybody loves the purples and pinks. I know I do. So what if we started with something like light lilac, and then we added a little bit of that passionate pink. I don't know why I have a second passionate pink ink pad, but we will use it. I don't know. Maybe powder blue? Powder blue might look really pretty with that mix. Let's give it a try. Hey, that's the thing about experimenting. You just try it. You just see what happens. You put your quarter sheet of cardstock in and you just go and see what happens. So let's start with the light lilac, because light lilac is a very blue purple. And I've said this before, it's a blue purple that looks like it looks very blue until you mix it with the other purples, and it's supposed to look that way. That's the way it was designed. Okay. So we'll stamp that. Hopefully we don't have any yellow or orange transfer, but oh, we don't. That looks, oh, that's beautiful. I love this color too. K. We're going to do a couple layers of this to get it nice and smooth. And remember, our ink does have a smoothing agent in it, which really helps because as the color dries, it gets smoother. And it blends together even better. Yeah, this is a good color. These silhouette stamps, I mean, they're big and they're bold. Okay, so that's pretty. That's really pretty. I love this color. Okay, now let's blue it up a little bit. Not blow it up, blue it up a little bit with some powder blue. We'll start with that. Let's add a little bit around the edges here. This may actually not look like much. We may have to go with a deeper shade. And actually, it might be really pretty to do this with the coordinating lilacs. You know, the medium lilac next, and then the dark lilac, to really get variations of that. Okay, this is getting a little bluer here. Get a little more in there. I think, why don't we add like blue denim? Because you see how that's getting darker? Let's add some blue denim because that'll make it even darker. Let me get another ink stand so I can go back and forth between these colors. Okay. So, well, let me do some more of this powder blue in other areas first. Just so that because once I get my blending brush into that darker blue, I'm not going to want to be cleaning it every time. So let's see how this looks. Every time I push it down, I get scared. Like, oh, is it in the right spot? I'm sure you guys know what I mean. The fear. The fear. Yes, I can see it getting more blue down there. We'll go along the edges down here of these two.
How light do you think your first color can be?
Oh, I think it could be very light. I think you could go like lemon drop if you wanted. You could go super light. You know, and then you could really add the colors in there. And I think this is a great way to do rainbow blends too, because you're just not going to get those harsh lines. Okay, let's try some blue denim and see what we get. So we're going to go real dark here. And we'll go right along the edge here. I think this is going to really show. And I'm just kind of feathering it out so that it's not too harsh of a line. I didn't move my thing. I double stamped. But can you see that color? It really got nice and dark. But you just got to make sure that you don't do what I just did. But it's all right. These are practice cards. We're just playing. So I wouldn't like throw in the towel and say, okay, I can't use that now. Let's try that. Oh yeah, I love that, how it's getting super dark. You don't like when people say it's just paper? It is just paper though. It's just paper. Maybe she was agreeing with me. Okay, I'm doing a little bit up here at the top. We'll see how this goes. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Now, I don't know what pink is going to do, but I think we should try it just to see if pink would show up. So I've got Passionate Pink here. Get a Passionate Pink brush. And I should probably clean the stamp. Yeah, it's not bad. I'm not worried about it. Because again, like, this is my practice card. I might not even like this pink, but I might. And the thing is that if I like it, then, you know, I can make it again, right? It's not the end of the world if it's not perfect. Ooh. So this pink turned it more like a grape jelly kind of color. I kind of like that. Let's see. Can we get like some of that in there? Ooh, that's really pretty. That's why it's just so fun to play. You don't have to... Every time you sit down, you do not have to make a card. You can just have fun. Ooh, I love what's happening here. Can you see that fade going? I'm not thrilled with this one anyway because I didn't stamp it very well here, which is fine because then it's a great panel to just experiment on.
Sue is asking, why not use a darker color to start with instead of stamping image 3 times?
Well, because I still want the color to be light because I want my darker colors to be able to show on it. And when it's a newer stamp like this, sometimes you have to stamp 2 or 3 times just to make sure you get the image nice and solid. So that is why. Even if you stamp it 3 or 4 times, it's not necessarily making it darker, it's just making it more solid. Okay, so I'm digging the blues and the purples together. And the pinks. Here's my last stamp. So you can see that, we'll hide my little double stamp there, but you can see how those colors fade together really nicely, but there's still no harsh lines, which I love. Yeah. If you stamped white pigment ink on top, that would probably work for certain areas. Like if you did it with a dark color and then added some white pigment ink, we could try that. Do we have time before we make the last card? Yeah, we could try that. Let's try that. That's a good idea. Why not? Today is experiment day. You don't see the double stamp? Down here is the double stamp in this area. It's not too bad, but if I took a real crisp picture of it, you would see it. Okay, let's go with a real dark color. Let's go with like navy and then add white on top of it. Viewer suggestion, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna try it. I don't know what it's gonna look like. It may be a huge success. It may not. Well, we can go with blue denim. I think blue denim is a nice dark color. Even black would be cool to add the white on top. But blue denim is looks very royal. Okay. You see, I'm just trying to get rid of this little bit of shadiness here by stamping it a couple times. I did check. One more time. Do it one more time. It's just fun to see what happens, and I think it'll be fun to see what happens with the white. So the difference between a pigment ink and a dye ink, and the reason the white may work, is because pigment ink is more opaque. And dye ink is transparent, so you can't really, that's why there's no white dye ink, because it would just be transparent and it would look like, you know, nothing. Let me get my white ink. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if I have a sponge dauber, because I like using my pigment ink with our sponge daubers more than I like using them with the blending brushes. The blending brushes get super crispy with pigment ink. So let's just see what this looks like. This is a big dauber too, so let's just, ooh, let's just try a little bit like this. I think this might look pretty cool, actually. Well, I don't see anything. Maybe I need a little more. Maybe I need a few layers. Try. Maybe it's too wet. Could be a lot of things. Yeah, it is lightening up. I do see it lightening up here. But we have to try. We have to experiment. We gotta see. Oh, yep, it's lightening up. It's getting misty looking, which is kind of cool. Do a little on that side. Yep, I see it. It's not as dramatic as I would like it to be, but I think it's a cool look. Try that down here. Yeah, I definitely see it. Can you guys see that? You see it fading up on the sides here? Now, the thing about this, it is very cool and it's different. The thing about it is you might be able to get the same look by using a lighter blue and then just going and blending the darker color on there. So this might be, you know, not exactly the look you're going for, you know, if you're just trying to get some lighter shading between the two. But it is kind of cool, and I'm glad we tried it because you just never know. Sometimes you try something once and it's like the world shifts. It's so cool. This is not bad. Let's take a look at it up close. Can you see that in there and up in there? Yeah, you could definitely throw embossing powder over those parts, but I do think it would be like white and then blue. I don't think that it would be a fade like you're hoping it would be. So, yeah, I don't think so. And I don't know that the white is white enough that you could do another color on top. I think that it would just, it wouldn't show very well. But this is why I suggest that after you guys watch a live like this, that you all try your ideas that you have, because a lot of you are giving me ideas that very well may work. I can't try them all during a live, but they very well might work. And then share them in our Facebook group, because I definitely want to see it. Okay. That's cool. All right. Yes, doing it over a stencil would be very cool too. But this is a way to make your stamps look a little bit more like stencil designs. So, all right, we're cleaning that up. And I think we should probably go with this one because I just love how vibrant that is. And let's turn this into a quick card. So I'm going to get my die cutting machine and I'm going to cut this out with Master Layouts 2. Yeah, heat embossing in clear would definitely make it pop a little bit more because the embossing powder wouldn't stick to the dye ink, but it would stick to the pigment ink, and it would definitely show more of that. So that would be very cool to do. All right, I'm going to cut it right there because I want this leaf. I want this leaf here to be in full, and I know it's kind of sad to cut off some of this, but I think we're going to have to. Okay, I just need a little bit of masking magic to hold this down and in place on both sides so it doesn't shift. And let's cut that out. Oh, Sue, I'm so glad you like your intracut. That's wonderful. I'm very glad. A lot of people are having a lot of luck with it. People that have had trouble with arthritis and stuff, it cuts very easily. Okay, so I cut that out using Master Layouts 2. And then while I'm here, I'm going to cut out a black panel using the plain die from Master Layouts too. So this should work. Sometimes I like to angle it a little bit when I go through because it's less wear and tear on your plate. And I did take my bent plates home so I can do a quick video for you and show you how to straighten them. So there isn't a place on the website where I'm teaching. I don't teach out ever anymore, but I am this time at Simon Says Stamp Create event in Ohio. Other than that, I really don't travel anymore. And I did put that out in our Facebook group and on YouTube, and we went live. I went live with Heidi and Jennifer when the tickets went up for sale. So that is kind of the way that we've been doing the class announcement. But that being said, I do teach online. Like I teach at the SCT card making event, and they have those once or twice a year. So I always put those out in newsletters. If you're not signed up for our newsletter, make sure you get signed up. When you go to our website, there should be a pop-up that comes up to sign up for our newsletter. And if you can't find it, how to do it, you can always contact customer service and they can help you. There's also a spot in our Facebook group of how to sign up for our newsletter. Okay, let's pick a greeting together. What do you think? Thankful for you or thinking of you? How about thankful for you? Although thinking of you might be more useful. I'll do thinking of you because that is very useful. It's a very generic phrase that can be used for so many different things, and I like that. Sometimes you need a sympathy card and you don't have one, but a thinking of you card can actually work for that. But it can also work for the times where you just want to send a card to somebody or an encouragement card. Okay, everybody's saying thankful. All right, so where's my thinking of you people? Help me out here. Okay, there's a few thinking of yous. That's good. Okay, that looks nice. Let's do it one more time. There we go. Nice and crisp. I love the font in this stamp set. Oh my word, it is so pretty. And it's so pretty embossed because it's just a hair thicker. So it embosses really well with white embossing powder. It doesn't look crinkly. I love that. So we're going to cut this out using the coordinating die, which I'm glad I dug out that die set because I need it now. We're going to cut this out so we can pop up this greeting. We could have stamped it right on there and saved time, but I mean, why do that when we've got 6 minutes left? I'm going to make a whole card here. I can do it. I know I can do it. So I'm going to find the die. I haven't put these on the magnet yet, but that would have been very helpful. What some people are doing with the magnet too, which I think is kind of cool, is they are cutting out the dies and then they're like putting it in the same positions. Like they're cutting out the actual little die cuts and then they're putting it in the same position either underneath and then putting the magnet on top so that they can see it, because if you do that on thin copy paper, the magnet can still be magnetic right through that piece of copy paper. And other people are just stamping it in the same layout that the dies are and just keeping that with the die set so that it's easy to see which one is which, because these little dies for the words, they all look the same. All right, we're gonna put that in place there. Hopefully that will stay. Okay, here we go. Sorry if you just saw the top of my head through that whole thing. I was trying to see it. What number am I using on my machine? I have it at like +2 right now for these tiny dies. But I always start at 12 o'clock because you never know if you really need the extra pressure or not. So I would say don't use the extra pressure until you know you need it. I'll clean that later. Okie dokie. Now let's get this onto a card base. Let's pick a color here. I want to do a real bright card base. I want to see what Wild Dandelion looks like, if it'll bring out a little bit more of that yellow. I think it does, but I don't know if that goes with the style of the card. So let's look at Sweet Corn. Sweet corn. Let's look at sweet corn and see if that looks a little softer and better. Let's get this out of the way. I think that might be a little better, a little more subtle. What do you think? I think this one might be too bright. Let's go with this. Let's go with this. I can't see the comments because they're not scrolling right now, Tom, but I'm making the executive decision. Okay, sweet corn. All right, Tom, everybody's asking for a word of the day, so while I cut my cardstock down and glue these pieces together, would you like to do your word of the day? Do you have one?
Okay, so last week you were working with colored pencils.
Yes.
And you were matching up on the fly the color of the pencil with the color of the ink.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're doing that and you're doing it like you're nailing it, you're experiencing synchronicity. You are synchronized. Perfectly synchronized between your ink pad and your colored pencil or your Copic or other marker.
I love it.
Synchronicity, word of the day, back to the dead space.
That's a good one. That's a good one. It's funny when Tom brings his word of the day up, I see like all the other words of the day that he's had in the last couple of weeks on the banners. And I keep seeing blingering that keeps showing up. Okay, so now I'm going to pop this up with some of these foam squares. And I know I have my tweezers somewhere. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know where they went. They're somewhere. But I'll have to do it by hand here. I'm losing everything. But we will do it by hand. So I'm going to just put these tiny little foam squares on the back here because I want to pop these up. So that's why I cut them in half, so that they're super skinny and they can, you know, fit on here really well. That is super skinny. But it works. It works. Synchronicity. That's actually a very interesting word. Kind of like it for some other things. It's a very fun word. All right, so I'm going to pop this on, and then I'm going to bling this up just a little bit. I will be blingering in a minute. But I know, I didn't give Simon Hurley my tweezers, did I? I just lost them. Gotta get more tweezers. Okay. So I'm gonna I think I'll put it right in here, like that. There we go. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of bling around the outside of this. So, got my glue. Let's see what bling I can use. Should I use some of these, like these little peachy ones? Ooh, they're pretty. That's pretty. I like that. I like these colorful little pearls, but I gotta spill them all out to get the tiny ones. Here's a tiny. there's yellow in here too. There's like peach, and then there's yellow. So we could do that. Let's get a couple of the peach ones. And again, they're like turtles. When they get on their back, you can barely turn them over. I like that big one in there. That's a good spot for a big pearl. So I'm going to just stick with these peach ones, I think, and see if I can find another big one. And maybe one more tiny one. I do want to see what the yellow looks like. Now, see, I think that's just, it's the wrong yellow for this card base. So you just got to kind of find the ones that work for you. Here's one more sitting in this blue ink. So hopefully that isn't going to affect anything. So I think that will work. Move that up a little bit. And over. I want to position them first the way I want them. Yeah, I'll do it like that. Okay, so here we go. Medium one, a little glue. Boom. This one, a little glue. This over here. And it's interesting when you get our rainbow pearls, like some of the peach ones are different than the other peach ones. Some have a different sheen to them. And it's kind of nice because you can mix and match them and not everything looks exactly the same, which is fun. Love that. You get variety. Okay. So there, now we have this cute little Thinking of You card. Now last night in my playing, after I found a color combo that I liked, I did make a birthday card. So here is the birthday card I made using the blues and the greens. So that was kind of like what we started working with, our first color combination. And there are 2 cards using this inking technique. There we go. Not so close for my big screen people. So what do you think, Tom? Which one is your favorite? I think I already know, but...
Well, yeah, I'm quick to go for the orange kind of tinted one, but you've got me hooked on all those other colors now. So,
oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I'm all messed up.
Tom's favorite color is orange, so I thought it would be a no-brainer for this one. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like, it is kind of hard to pick a favorite color because it's like picking a favorite child. All the colors are so beautiful. All right, everybody. Well, we're going to have some winners. We're going to have a winner today of a $15 Gina K Designs gift card. And if you're new here, just so you know, every time you watch live, just make sure you leave a comment. It can be something as simple as just saying hello and where you're from, because your comment gets you entered into the drawing. So, Tom, are you ready to draw a winner for today's $15 gift card?
Our drummer is ready to cut loose.
All right, let's do it.
Drum roll, please. Here we go. Winner today is Shirley Darbro.
Yay,
Shirley Darbro.
Yay! Congratulations, Shirley. All you have to do is send your name and email address to info@ginakdesigns.com and we will get that digital gift card out to you. Well, everybody, this was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed the technique. I hope you'll get your ink out and your blending brushes and you'll just play and experiment. And when you do, share what yours look like in our Facebook group. If you can, we would love to see the colors that you come up with. And then Tom and I will be back next Tuesday night with another Stamp and Chat Live. In the meantime, stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.